Last week I shared some Divrei Hesped on my uncle, Elazar Meisels, and I neglected to say the following story. It's a beautiful story. It's not about him. It's about his wife, really. It's about him too. But my uncle was a Yid who dedicated his life to Chinuch Habanim Babanis. His whole life was dedicated to Torah, to serving the Rebbe Shalom, Chinuch Habanim Babanis. And it came at a great cost. It meant that he had, Baruch Hashem, a beautiful family, a nice big family, and he didn't have anything extra to go around. Never. It was always tight. And they lived in Cleveland. And Cleveland, as anybody who's ever been there knows, is not a place that's easily confused with Florida. Cleveland's by the Cuyahoga River. It's got two temperatures, basically, cold and frigid. And it's not geschmack. I remember growing up in New York, it was never that cold. But you'd see the people wearing fur coats, as pushing it all the way into May and June, can I still take out my fur coat? The fur coat there was more of a fashion statement than something to keep you warm. But in Cleveland, a fur coat is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And many of my aunt's friends had fur coats. And, some of them were high society ladies because they worked, my uncle, they worked in the Hebrew Academy. And the Hebrew Academy served a wide population, a wide and broad population. There were some very well-to-do people there. And one night, one of my aunt's friends looked at her somewhat disdainfully and said, "Rivka, where's your fur coat?" It was a bitter cold night, and she wore some little coat there. He says, "Rivka, where's your fur coat?" So my aunt looked at her and she said, "Oh, my fur coat? Yes, I have a number of fur coats. Baruch Hashem, I have my daughter, my son-in-law learning in Eretz Yisrael. I have a fur coat in Chicago, my son who learns then is a Rebbe. And I have a fur coat here in Cleveland, my son who's a Rebbe here. And I have a few sons-in-law who learn in Lakewood. I have lots of fur coats, and those fur coats keep me warm." She wasn't being corny. She was being serious. To her, the knowledge that her children, sons and sons-in-law, and daughters-in-law, were all living lives of Torah and Limud HaTorah, that kept her warm. Kept her a lot warmer than a fur coat would have kept her. That was a big thing for her. So sometimes that's your value. It's not about who I'm helping. It's not about who's helping me. It's not about who I'm supporting or who's supporting me. This is what's important to me in my life. This is the greatest thing, is if I can have a son-in-law or a son who's sitting and learning. I mean, Einik who are sitting and learning. Ooh, what could be better? What greater wealth could there be? There's no meat board in the world that could compare to that.